Welcome back, everybody. Thankful to have you here. We sure appreciate it. As always, we're very grateful for you to spend your time with us. We are acutely aware of all the other things that you could be doing. So we want to start off with always just saying thank you. This is mildly a big deal. Today, I have a couple of travel nursing stories, things that just happen. You know, when you're out on the road, sometimes things just happen. So I was headed to a contract in, I believe it was West Virginia. And I just left Arkansas, driving through from Southwest Arkansas to West Virginia. You got to cross the entire state from Southwest corner to Northeast corner, right? It's the longest possible route I think you can take in Arkansas. So I'm driving, I'm maybe 5 hours in, and I realized that, it's getting late. If I want to eat, I better stop and do it now, because you hit a certain time, everything's going to be closed. You're going to be out there wishing you had some beef jerky. You're going to be wishing you had some chips, maybe a box of cereal or something. You're going to be starving. That's what I'm saying. You're going to be starving to death. So, I see the sign for a cafe, and it's not far. So I pull down this little exit, and it loops around. And as it loops around, as soon as you come out the loop, there's this little cafe on the right. And I noticed that it was very busy, but it said that it had a buffet, and I'm down for a buffet. It's just me. It's who I am. Buffets usually aren't the most quality food, but sometimes your boy will take quantity over quality. I'm a little ashamed to admit it, but it's the truth. It's what happens. So I pull into this buffet, and everything seems fine. Once again, my problem comes so often that I will listen to my earbud, right? I have that going on, have some music or a podcast I'll be listening to, lots of times. It's Theo Von. It's, this past weekend, I watched that a lot, or listened to Theo Von on that. So anyways, I will have that in and not be paying attention. So I pull into this restaurant, I go walking into busy place, and this lady starts talking to me at the front door, and I'm like, oh, she's talking to me. It seemed important, but I didn't hear her, and I didn't want to have to acknowledge that I didn't hear. So I just nodded my head and went to looking around. Now she gave a little point that way, so I just assume that she says, you need to go sit that way. Well, I go and I sit down, and I wait and I wait and I wait, and I realize that no one's really coming to take my order or anything, but I can see the buffet, and there's so many people, and they're in and out of this buffet. And I finally flagged down a waitress, and she's like, oh, with everything going on, it's a serve yourself, your drinks, everything. So I'm like, oh, okay, well, still no big deal. So I go up, and I fix myself a plate. They had some little chicken fried steaks on there that were fantastic. They had some cheese grits on there. Oh, my, some cheese grits. Ooh. They had mashed potatoes. They had gravy and green beans. They had chicken. They had fried chicken, and they had roasted chicken. Naturally, I'm having my fill, and it's fantastic. It was very good food. I do not remember the name of the restaurant because, well, I got caught up in the moment. You see, what happened is I'm eating all this food. Oh, they had barbecue? Yes, sir. I'm eating my meal, and I'm having this barbecue, and I'm literally thinking about how just incredibly good this food is. And some guy stands up and starts talking, and my first thought is, this guy is clearly a fucking sicko. So I need to be paying attention. I need to know what he's saying, so that if sicko type things are happening, I'm gonna know about it. I can be on my toes you know, grab my knife, put a butter knife, put it under the table in case you got to get somebody with a butter knife, hide that fork in case you got to, give a fork to an eyeball or whatever the case. So, get your spoon in case you have to thump somebody right there between your nose with your spoon. I don't know if that'll help. I don't know if that would hurt at all. It might just make the situation worse. But anyways, I grabbed the butter knife, because I'm thinking this man's a sicko. He's got to be a sicko. And turn my earbud off. I go to listen, and I realize that everybody's listening to him. So this sicko has the attention. And first thing he said, "Well, we rented out the restaurant tonight for Grammy Green's birthday party. Gammy Green's 97th birthday party." And I thought, oh no, they rented out the whole place. And I'm not one of the Greens. I'm not even from this part of the state. So I'm going to be caught. I'm going to be busted. And I'm a little nervous about it. But Filler gives his speech, and I'm thinking, okay, you just be quick. Finish your food, get up, you'll pay, be out. Just be gone, right? Just don't be here when shit hits the fan. So I kind of hurry up. And then as soon as I go to turn around, there's a lady there. And she says, "Hey, I don't even know if you remember me or not, but it's your Aunt Cheryl. It's Travis, right?" And I thought, yep, it's Travis today. So I just said, yeah, hey, it has been so long since I've seen you, Aunt Cheryl. And Aunt Cheryl gave me a hug. Aunt Cheryl asked me to help to bring in some presents and the cake and help light the candles. It just dawned on me while speaking about this that it could happen out there that someone from the Greens could find out now that I'm not Travis. That's not who I am. I was never Travis. The whole time I wasn't Travis. I was Beau. I thought one of you was the sicko. I thought the rest of y'all seemed super nice. Even the one I thought was the sicko wasn't a sicko. He was Uncle Bill. But anyways, I digress. Aunt Cheryl took me in, so I just decided that I would just be Travis. And one of the things that I noticed was I really liked Travis, and I liked being Travis. Travis had his shit together. Travis didn't worry about, eavesdropping, bombing in on somebody else's birthday party. Travis didn't care about that. Travis was there for family, love, and to have a good time. So I took pictures. I gave Gammy Green a big hug and a kiss on the cheek. And I told her, happy birthday, Gammy Green. You're going to have another 20 of these. And she laughed and she said, "I hope not." It was pretty cute. I tried to get a selfie with Aunt Cheryl. She did not allow me to take it. She just said, "Now, Travis, I don't like selfies. I don't like my picture being taken." So I was like, "I know, Aunt Cheryl, but, I just wanted to try to get a picture." And I sat and I ate my meal. The Greens were such a lovely family. They were wonderful. The most welcoming family to not know who I was that you could possibly imagine. The food was fantastic. I believe his name was Great Uncle Eric, something like that. He was an older gentleman, turned out paid for all the food, paid for everything. So, how sweet is that? I did offer to go ahead and pay my own. They said no. I told them, I was like, "Hey, you guys know that me, Travis, I have things that I'm busy. I can't stay here long." And they were like, "Oh, Travis, we know. We're just glad that you came by. just to spend part of the day with us. No one thought you would be here. And I'm like, I never thought I would be here, and I sure didn't think Travis would be here. But here we are. You know what I'm saying? Um, so they were like, but before you go, we have to get a family picture. We don't know when we'll all be together again. So I'm like, okay. And I get this clever little thought of someday Travis, the real Travis, is going to see these family pictures at like Gammy Green's funeral or whatever the case. And he's going to point at somebody on this picture and he's going to go, so out of curiosity, who's this guy in the picture? Who's that? They're going to be like, oh, that's Travis. And he's like, no, it's not. I'm Travis. And it's going to be this whole thing. And maybe he'll wonder if he's Travis. And part of me wondered if there was anybody there that knew I wasn't Travis. They were just like, I know who Travis is, and you ain't it. But they were just too nice to say anything about it. So it was supposed to just be a regular trip to West Virginia, which is a wonderful state. It's one of my favorite states. I lived there for just a little bit. West Virginia feels like home. It's the only place other than Arkansas that just feels like home. It's got some fantastic people there. I can't wait to go back to West Virginia. I look forward to it every year. And I think if I go back, I'm going to roll the dice and see if I can find that same cafe in just hopes that they're, a bunch of greens are there. But they were pretty cool. Great family. One of the most lovely families. So yeah, if I hadn't been a traveler, none of that would have happened. I would never have met the Greens. I would have never had Crash the Party. It would just be a whole new experience that was gone, Anyways, as always, we'd love it if you give any kind of comments, anything you have to say. Give us a thumbs up or a like or whatever people say. We're always happy for that. And as always, this is mildly a big deal. We can't be more thankful to have you here, that you care enough to come and join us and spend time with us. We know that you could be doing other things, and we thank you for that. So, man, we love you guys. Mildly a big deal. Beau Clowers. That's me.